Oh, hello, what is up, gamers? I just spent the entire day watching movies. I watched 4 movies, pretty much back to back to back to back. I'm pretty exhausted, but I do not want to go to bed tonight without reading the new chapter of One Piece. Last week was so freaking brazy as we get into what is looking more and more like the God Valley arc. This chapter being titled The God Valley Incident isn't quite the same as, early on in almost every One Piece arcs, there's a chapter called Adventures in the Land of blah blah blah, which is when you kind of know you've kicked off the arc proper. But I feel like, given all the ground we know we could cover and kind of the exhaustive thoroughness of this flashback so far, I think there's quite a lot of ground to cover in God Valley. There's also just a lot of awesome characters involved that I think we want to see in action that Oda is not going to pass up an opportunity to show us in action. We got freaking young Garp, young Roger. We got their crews, maybe some other notable Marines. We got young Dragon up in there. We got various Holy Knights involved, Sommers and Shanks' dad for sure. We also got the Rocks crew, which we've seen in action a few times before, but not really pushed to the limit. And Harold as well is somewhat involved. Do you remember him? This is actually his flashback, if you can believe it. Or even then, surprise, it's actually the Loki flashback, if you remember that kid. We're supposed to be hearing his story. Yes, we are very, very deep into these nested flashbacks. Now it feels like there's a whole arc beginning in the middle of that, which is just absolutely insane. Oda saying that One Piece is in its final saga. It's gonna be a long saga. Why are you flipping off the camera?
I'm flipping off you.
What? That's even worse. Gosh, get no respect around here. No respect. Take my boyfriend, for example. Go ahead, take him.
Now you gotta make your eyes bug out of your skull.
Go ahead, take him. All right, whatever. Let's read the chapter. I feel like this Yamato arc is maybe coming to an end. This looks pretty sedimental, pretty complete, overlooking the shrine to Odin in the Flower Capital. I feel like that feels pretty, full circle now. I've enjoyed this arc. I think it's fun to kind of reminisce about Wano. Still the biggest arc ever, but maybe Elbaf plus this flashback will give it a run for its money. Who knows? But I'm excited to see Yamato get out to sea. I think that's his plan after this grand tour of Wano, just like his hero Odin. And that opens up the possibility that Yamato will, of course, encounter other characters, get involved in other plot lines, and that's, peak One Piece is when all of those different past plot lines start weaving into the present action. Speaking of which, let's get to God Valley, where so many different things are happening. Absolutely crazy. Okay, the Davy clan, the most hated of people. You can go back generations and you'll never find a single person who loved your kind. Shun them, isolate them. You're just more buccaneers, aren't you? Okay, so that's quite interesting. They don't seem to know. Not that I think the average celestial dragon knows much of anything. They all seem like kind of ignoramuses. But they at least have, like, the best possibility to know. If they don't really fully understand what the hell the Davy clan is, maybe nobody really does. But it's interesting that it's like these world government type people, these descendants of the ancient alliance that defeated the ancient kingdom, are haters of the Davy clan. Now, is the Davy clan the same as the D? It starts with D. I don't think so, though. It's like yet another thing. I think it's kind of like what opposes Nika, and then the world government is just like a third thing. And this goes with my feeling that in the end there's going to be 3 major powers in the final confrontations and battles and stuff. It's not going to be your all good guys versus all bad guys finale, but it's going to be something close to that, which is all good pirates versus all bad pirates versus world government. So yeah. Kind of interesting. Here we see baby Blackbeard. Poor little guy. Their lives pose a danger to us all. If we can wipe them out once and for all, this is a blessed day. Did well to find them, Garling. It's simply an act of fate. There, of course, is Saint Saturn, who we saw get mummified, basically. Notably, does not look any older or younger in this decades and decades ago. Giving, a lot of credence to the idea that they were hundreds and hundreds of years old. And when Saint Saturn had his powers stripped away, he just instantly died because he's actually like 700.
I'm just using the fridge.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought you were coming over to say something.
Yeah, what if when Saint Saturn was younger, he was drawn like Boa Hancock and shit?
Oh, like...
They had big, juicy naturals and
what?
a snatched waist.
Natural what? Just anything.
Just anything.
All natural, baby. Okay. Meanwhile, I got a little confused by this last chapter. There's like 2 instances of mothers protecting notable babies. Windows update. No, we won't be doing that. Dragon is encountering Shanks's mom. And then goes to save their kids. Right. The 13 super rare rabbits, they're worth 10,000 points each. By the way, there's a line here where he goes, let's introduce the favorites to win the individual competition, i.e. like the hunters. And it's notable to me that they gloss over this. I think because the hunters involved here are just so detestable. Whereas this is usually prime time to just introduce some like random ass super bit player characters that just have a little bit of sauce that show up like 3 times. Just because Oda loves doing that. Like, remember, like, the guests at Big Mom's wedding reception? It's an opportunity for a little scene like that. But instead, because, the Saint Garland and Saint Saturn and stuff have already been introduced, we don't need to know a bunch of other random-ass celestial dragons. I think, by definition, they're not going to be cool. They're all going to be just, like, pudgy dudes in their silly little bubble suits. Okay. So Dragon runs off with the kids. 13 super rare rabbits. That's the Davy clan, I suppose. The 150 rare rabbits include Kuma, who of course has Buccaneer blood. Everybody runs off. Just have to survive for 3 weeks and we're free. The hunt begins. Yeah, look at these garish, impish, piggish bastards here. Oh my gosh. They have like a Seussian energy to them almost. Like the greedy industrialists in the Lorax. Okay. The hunt continues. It's really horrific, man. At first I was like, this whole human hunt thing that was presented during the Kuma flashback as this great, abhorrent thing. I don't know, it didn't seem like as bad as some of the other atrocities in One Piece, There's been some pretty atrocious things in flashbacks, especially things the world government have done. But, I don't know, now that we're, like, in it, just the sadisticness of, like, letting them run free, sort of, and just the sport that they take in it. Terrifying. Okay. Gunko, of course. She's great, but she's still just the knighthood's pet, devoted blade of God. Now that, to me, suggests that Gunko, yes, has been possessed, and that there may have been several Gunkos over the years that serve as this devoted blade of God or something. Yeah, there's Saint Gunko. Like, she looks different, right? Not just her hair is different, but I think she looks pretty different. But she still has the arrow fruit, so I'm not totally sure. But she's definitely, like, brainwashed. Still has the face covering, you know. We gotta save that. Meanwhile, Saint Somers, this asshole. This is kind of crazy because in the present day Elbaf, they already had a bunch of scenes that show you what a dick Saint Somers is and get you, like, pumped to see him get his ass beat. And then now in the flashback, there's, like, even more. You, like, really, really know how awful. If I defy the Celestial Dragons and try to save someone, my entire platoon will be beheaded. Okay, yeah, there's Ivakanov. This is the fateful meeting of the future leaders of the Revolutionary Party. They've still got hope. Nice. Now, it looks like he somehow shot, like, sleeping gas or something at this Celestial Dragon. Not totally willing to kill yet. Still kind of trying to decide, will he totally abandon his life of justice? Alright, and here we go. The Rox Pirates and many others to save their beloved Shaki. And Rox, of course, to try to save his son. Pulling up. Oh, hell yeah. Shaki treasured devil fruits. There's no point killing each other over them. I propose a temporary team up. Bring back the treasure and we'll split it. Even no complaints about that, I trust. This is the current main crew. I don't know if this is everybody, but these are the ones that we know about. Can't split Shaki. I love this. I love because we have, like, big crew intro scenes for the Straw Hats and stuff like this. And again, it just, like, really reinforces how these guys, and in turn Blackbeard's crew, are kind of like the anti-Straw Hats. And that they get the same kind of structure where, boom, they're on the scene and everybody's kind of saying something. But here, they're all just kind of, like, arguing with each other. And they've only formed this, like, temporary alliance because they've been probably fighting the whole time. You can see Big Mom has Napoleon now. Her hat is alive. Remember, Napoleon turns into a big sword. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, they all yell at each other. Oh, Newgate making a reference to if she falls in love with me, well, I'm not complaining. And then Stussy getting pissed off, and we know, of course, Stussy in the future claims that she has Whitebeard's son. The bizarre character Edvard Weevil. Oh, Wangzi is behind on the island. Sure. And then yes, this alludes to another thing that we know happens during God Island, which is Kaido gets the dragon fruit, which must be one of the treasures, as a prize. And that this creates some sort of, like, fallout between Big Mom and Kaido. Okay. They try to repel them. The Rox Pirates too strong. Bro, they have, like, a corpse tied to the bow of their ship. That's awesome. What the hell is that? Is that somebody? It's, like, huge. It's, like, a big corpse. It's not Harold. Nah, that would be even bigger. What the hell? I don't know. I don't know if Harold is going to show up or not. He let Rox go, try to save his family. But he could try to, like, I don't fucking know. It would be kind of weird if he didn't show up at all, though, right? Because this is supposed to be his flashback. The Roger Pirates coming from the other coast. Are they going to get an awesome introduction too? Dragon running off with the Shanks twins. happening? It's like the end of the world. First rocks, now Roger. Yeah, there they are. They don't get quite as big a spread since we only really know 3 of them in any depth. Raleigh and Scopper, of course, in the front there. But there are dudes that, you know, I talked about this before, like, when the Roger Pirates were first drawn in Buggy's flashback, and then later Oda decided, oh, I guess Buggy was on the Pirate King's crew, which was definitely, like, not the plan originally. And then he went back and he's like, I drew all these, like, random-ass looking pirates, but now they must be some of the strongest pirates in the world. And then, of course, Scopper got, like, elevated from that and kind of plucked out because he had been drawn a few times for consistency. But a few of these other guys get drawn a lot, too. I don't know, the dude with the big bushy beard I think I've seen before. This dude with goggles I think I've seen before. I don't know. It's like, I think if we're not going to see bigger profiles on them now, we probably never will, but I like it. Can't focus on the game. Bro, Mom, get in my room. Oh, shit. All right, so we see here some more Holy Knights. There's Sommers and Garland, of course. In the back, some real freaky freaks. Sir Killingham doesn't seem to be here. I guess he's probably younger or something. These are awesome designs. I was already like, oh, I guess, you know, we're going to gloss over the bad guys here because it's so abhorrent. We don't want to make them too cool. And then I was wrong. They were just saving it for later. Also a good explanation. Gunko not here. I guess Gunko is busy. But yeah, the Holy Knights, pretty hype. I would imagine most of them are still in service today. We know that Garland and Sommers and perhaps sort of Gunko are. And there's like 13, I think, so there's still spots that we'll see. This is kind of setting up villains for future arcs and stuff. We know that Shamrock becomes one. But yeah, I don't know, these character designs are crazy. This dude on the top right kind of has like Fishman vibes, that he's got the shark teeth, but then also has horns, kind of like Kaido, and maybe like a volcano on his head or something. And then the guy in the bag, he looks like a friendly friend. He's got a big bushy beard and a smile and mischievous eyes. And I don't know. I remember how obsessed I was with this idea that Sir Killingham, maybe he didn't have a devil fruit and he just looked like that. Because I thought that was just like so cool that there was like species and peoples that we hadn't even ever heard of before in the world of One Piece that are like ancient species with only a few representative lefts that are allied with the world government for whatever reason. Just like the Lunarians and stuff that we've only seen like very, very few examples of and have never really been fully explained. Here I'm falling for it again. I'm like, nah, that's not like a fishman or something. That's nothing we've already seen. That's not a giant. That's like a new thing. That's not a devil fruit either. That's some dude with just new stuff. And we get another babe with long speared sword kind of thing. Looks awesome. Rose in hair. And then this like sniper person we saw before. Don't know what the deal is there. Poofy hat. The fact that face is somewhat covered. I would say secret revolutionary, but the revolutionaries don't even exist yet. But there's kind of like the same, almost like steampunky vibe going on. The hat kind of looks like takoyaki. I don't know. It's crazy character designs. Okay. Chaos unfolds. Pirates landing on every shore. Charging onto the island. We don't know what they're after. That's because you're dumb, man. You should have realized that the pirates all love Shaki. And that kidnapping Shaki and using her as a prize is not going to go over well with them. That wasn't a secret, man. That was like in the news that the pirates love Shaki. And then, of course, here's Garp throwing cannonballs with his hands, his classic. What a god. Dragon's dad, because Dragon's here too. It's Vice Admiral Garp. Garp's fleet. Oh, Bogart is here. Bogart is here. Dude, Bogart's been with Garp forever. Y'all know about Bogart? He's this dude that's always drawn with Garp, and he's got the big hat over his eyes, and he hasn't done shit as far as I can remember. He's just always hanging out with Garp, and somebody asked about it in the SBS, and Oda said that's Bogart, which is a sick, nasty name, like Humphrey Bogart. I saw a movie about Godard's Breathless, which has a character that idolizes Bogart. Everyone idolizes Humphrey Bogart. He's a brilliant actor. Will he finally do something, or will he just stand there with his hand on his sword? Alright, this is great. Garp is here. All our major players are here. I have no idea how this is going to unfold. In terms of just, raw chaos and power level, this is on par with, the Whitebeard War, In terms of, notable characters that we kind of want to see in action, plus, a whole bunch of characters that we've never seen in action before. It really feels more like the Whitebeard War than anything. And there's a person to save too. Shaki, we know, does get saved. She's living freely in the present, so we will get there eventually. There's a lot to cover here. This is truly like an arc. I don't know, and I don't think Oda's just gonna be the chaos unfolded, but ultimately so-and-so escaped and so-and-so escaped and zooming out. I don't think we're going to zoom out. I think it's going to just be on the ground in the action, because he just loves these characters so much, and he's been so eager to show them in action this whole time. Yeah, we're in for the long haul, folks. I don't expect to see Emu again by the end of the year. I don't even know if we'll be back to Elbaf in 2026. Nah, we probably will. All right, let's look forward to the next chapter. I think it's coming out next week. No breaks. That's great. Let's go. I watched 4 movies. See you later.